Not everyone is hailing the bipartisan budget deal in Washington as a victory. Lawmakers on both sides have some pretty big concerns. One major issue for Democrats, the deal does not extend unemployment benefits for more than 1 million people.
In terms of unemployment benefits, the president feels strongly that those unemployment benefits should be extended.
Still, the president says he will sign the bill if it passes through both houses of Congress and lands on his desk. But will it get that far? One Republican who wants to prevent this bill from becoming a law, Congressman Tim Huelskamp. Congressman, thanks for joining us. You likely heard Speaker Boehner's warning today, quote, if you're for more deficit reduction, you're for this agreement. So I presume you're for more deficit reduction. Why are you against it?
Jake, let's be honest here. This is a spending increase. The only way you can concede that it's a deficit reduction measure is somehow believe that 8 to 9 years from now Congress is going to maintain the cuts. What they're trying to undo is the agreement, a 10-year agreement, and replace it with another one at higher levels of spending. At the end of the day, they aren't maintaining the sequester. It's more spending, which is, in my mind, why it's bipartisan. Both sides have agreed to raise spending. And it's also going to increase fees and taxes, and I think at the end of the day, it's not good for the American economy or the American people.
I spoke earlier with your fellow Republican Congressman Paul Ryan, the House Budget Committee chairman, who crafted this bill along with Democratic Senator Patty Murray. Here's what Congressman Ryan told me. I want to get your reaction.
We have laid out our vision very clearly, Jake. Our budget, which balances the budget and pays off the debt, is our vision. It's ultimately where we want to go. But we know in divided government, we're not going to get that. So the question that we're asking is, can we get a step in the right direction? I clearly think this is a step in the right direction. Others would like us to go farther in that right direction. I don't begrudge them of that. I want to go farther in that right direction. But I think this is a step in the right direction, and that's why I think this is very important that we do this, and also just show that we can make this government work a little bit.
Congressman, his basic argument, it's divided government. There's a Democratic-controlled Senate, a Democrat controlling the White House, and it's better to go along with this and let the government work a little bit rather than not at all. Your response?
Well, Jake, the sequester is the law of the land, and it is a small, limited amount of cuts. Actually, conservatives opposed the sequester because we didn't think it was robust. It wasn't targeted enough. It didn't deal with entitlement reform. And what we could have with doing nothing is all of the sequester. This is actually a step backwards, not a step forward. And that's why conservatives are upset, because it is making promises about cuts sometime in the future with spending increases today, which is what usually happens often in Washington in December. The Washington winter wonderland of spending increases and call it a deficit reduction package. And I understand if you can't get the thing done, but to say it's a great thing, it's a deficit reduction package, I think is very misleading.
Well, I think the Wall Street Journal editorial page called it the least worst option. Even those people who are saying that it should pass are not saying it's a great deal. Paul Ryan's argument is this is the best that can be done right now. You know that appropriators, both Democrats and Republicans, and a lot of people who are on the military-related committees, and obviously the Pentagon and those in the defense industry really hate those sequester cuts, that there was going to be something of a rebellion. And Ryan's argument is this is the best we can do right now. Do you disagree? Do you think you could have negotiated a better deal with Patty Murray?
Doing nothing maintains the sequester. The negotiation here is to undo the limited spending cuts of the sequester. And if the leadership was really committed to the sequester, which they claim to have been for 3 years or 2.5 years, they have said the crowning achievement of Republican control of the U.S. House are these limited cuts in the sequester. That's what they're trading away. Actually, it was just a couple months ago where the Democrats were demanding a clean CR and Republican moderates were demanding a clean CR. What conservatives says, okay, we agree, pass the clean CR across the floor, and hopefully we can agree to a CR, continuing resolution, spending levels for the remainder of the fiscal year. But this is actually a step backwards, in my opinion.
Last question, Congressman. Paul Ryan seemed to indicate some optimism. He thinks that there will be the votes to pass this deal. He said, we feel good about that. At the end of the day, even without your support, do you think the votes are there to pass this?
When you increase spending in Washington, that's usually the bipartisan deal. So my guess is it will pass. It just depends on how many Americans are finding out about the spending increases in Washington. And they're not focused on Washington this time of year. They're worried about holidays, worried about Christmas and doing other things. But this happened last year at this time where they went through part of the sequester. Usually bad deals happen in Washington in December. And another one seems likely to happen tomorrow.
All right. Well, speaking of Christmas, Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Hey,
Congressman
you too, Jake.
Huelskamp, Republican of Kansas. Thank you so much. New details tonight.